Thank you for joining us. Welcome to LumioseStation.
Hey LumioseStation, what's going on? This is Cheeseboy628 here today giving you an OU tier Wi-Fi battle. Now first, I'd like to thank LumioseStation for giving me the opportunity to upload a Wi-Fi battle of mine to their channel, and I hope you all enjoy this epic match I had. Now on to the team preview. In the top right is my team, which has a Subcall Mine Caldeo, a Life Orb B-Sharp, a Flame Orb Flare Boost Drift Blim, a Specially Defensive Amoonguss, an Agility Mega Ampharos, and a Flame Charge Entei. Now looking at my opponent's team, I see he has 5 OU threats and a Regirock, and half of his team is weak to Stealth Rock, so it's really unfortunate that I do not carry Stealth Rocks on my team. So without rocks, I'm going to have to figure out a way to break Dragonite's multi-scale relatively easily, as well as get some decent damage on Talonflame and Kyurem B. And I also have to make sure that Mega Mawile doesn't set up so it can sweep my entire team. But let's just see how this battle goes. So I'm going to start with my Ampharos because my main goal right now is to take that Talonflame out as soon as possible, and I'm hoping that's what he's going to lead with, and hopefully that he goes for a Flare Blitz thinking I'm just a normal Ampharos. I Mega Evolve, take him out with a T-Bolt, and that would be it. But to my surprise, he's actually going to start with this Kyurem B, and I don't know what kind of Kyurem B this is yet. It could be Choice Bandage, Choice Scarf, it could be a sub variant, but I'm hoping it doesn't sub down as I bring in my B-Sharp. Then I go straight for the Dragon Claw, and I take that relatively nicely. Now predicting him to switch out, I am going to go for the knockoff, and he actually brings in his Talonflame, probably predicting me to go for the Iron Head, and instead this knockoff is going to straight up OHKO this Talonflame. Take it out. That was a banded variant, as you can see, as I knocked off its choice band, and so that threat is completely gone now, and that's one worry out of the way. Now he decides to bring in his Mawile, which is certainly a questionable play because I do have the Defiant ability, so because he makes one of my stats going down being my attack, it's going to make my attack go up 2 stages from there, so I am at +1 now, and I'm definitely going to press Iron Head here. There's no reason for me to preserve my B-Sharp when there's a Mega Mawile in my presence, so I am going to go for the Iron Head. It's Life Orb, it's +1, and it's going to do around 75%, which is definitely satisfactory in my opinion. I'm totally fine that he takes me out with a Play Rough here because Mega Mawile is very bulky and very strong, and the fact that I got a ton of damage on it already is amazing. So he's actually going to go for the Sucker Punch here to get some last minute damage, and it's going to do about a quarter because Mega Mawile is just simply too strong, and I'm going to be able to go for the Secret Sword here, and thankfully from this range I'm feeling pretty confident that I am going to be able to take it out, and that will be the case. Now I definitely think that Caldeo was the best candidate for revenge killing Mega Mawile, as it would take the least amount of damage from a Sucker Punch. The only problem is now he can see my leftovers, so I can no longer bluff a Choice Scarf or Choice Specs. But here he brings in his Dragonite, and as I said in the team preview, I don't have Stealth Rocks to break his multi-scale, so I have to go for the Secret Sword now to break his multi-scale. I don't want to miss with Hydro Pump. So now his multi-scale is broken, but I do see that he's a Dragon Dance variant now. So I'm really hoping that this Dragonite is more of a bulky variant, so I can still outspeed even though he's at +1 speed. So that is actually going to be the case. I'm going to sub down, and he is going to go for the Outrage. So now he's locked into Outrage, and I really have no other option but to keep pressing Substitute. And my best bet is that he's going to get confused after 2 turns of Outrage, but if it is 3 turns, I should still be fine because I should live with a decent amount of health still, thanks to my leftovers recovery. And my hope is that he's going to get confused and hurt himself in confusion. That's all I can really hope for because Hydro Pump or Secret Sword really isn't going to do enough damage to severely weaken this Dragonite. But being +1 attack, Dragonite hurting itself is probably going to do a decent amount. So I'm going to sub down one more time here. He is going to go for Outrage, and after this turn you are going to see that he's going to get confused. Now thankfully this Dragonite does not have the Lumberry, because if it did, it would no longer be confused and I would be in even more trouble than I was previously because I would have to figure out even more ways of trying to take this monster out. This Dragonite is probably a Weakness Policy variant, which thankfully doesn't come into play during the battle. But here, I am able to get up one more substitute, and he is going to hurt himself in Confusion, which is huge because number one, that does a decent amount of damage, and number two, I'm safely behind a substitute right now, so I can easily go for Hydro Pump or Secret Sword. Now, getting a little greedy, I do go for the Hydro Pump because I want to get as much damage on this Dragonite as possible, but much to my dismay, I am going to miss the Hydro Pump, and he's actually going to break through Confusion, hit me with the Outrage, and of course break my substitute. So now here I'm thinking, okay, I missed one Hydro Pump, there's no way I'll miss another, so I'm going to go for it. I want to bring this Dragonite down to about half health, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm thankfully going to hit, and he's actually going to break through Confusion once again, take me out with the Outrage easily, and that is a dead Keldeo. Now at this point, he's at +1 speed, and I'm thinking I don't have any Pokemon to outspeed this Dragonite, and he's probably going to break out of Confusion now, so I'm going to bring in my Adamant Max Speed, Max Attack, Entei in hopes that I can get off some decent damage, but first go for the Flame Charge, thinking since I'm adamant that I'm not going to outspeed this Dragonite. Well, much to my surprise, I actually do outspeed this Dragonite without even needing the Flame Charge boost, but now I'm even faster, so it's pretty nice. But he's going to break through the Confusion one more time, but he's going to go for the Roost, and that's actually a huge misplay, and you're going to see why in the next few turns. First, I'm going to go for the Sacred Fire here because it has a 50% chance to burn, and I really need the burn on this Dragonite. Now I do get the crit on his Dragonite, which really doesn't matter in the next couple of turns, and you'll see exactly why, but the burn does matter, and that was what I was hoping for. Now when you see this Outrage damage, you can see that it does over half, which means if he would have just attacked me the turn before, he would have taken out my Entei, and that probably would have been the game right there. But no, he decided that he needed to go for the Roost to get some more bulk. Now here you'll see that the crit actually helped him because I do have Iron Head and Stone Edge as my choice moves for wanting to take out this Dragonite. I don't go for the Stone Edge because I don't want to miss, and I think at the range he's at that the Iron Head is going to take him out. Turns out it barely misses out on the KO, and he's going to take me out with the Outrage, and it will be a double down. Now I blindly bring in my Amoonguss to put something to sleep guaranteed with the Spore, as he blindly brings in his Regirock for what I assume to be getting up his late game rocks. But first it turns out that he actually carries the Fire Punch, and he actually is going to be able to burn my Amoonguss, which doesn't end up mattering as you'll see later. But I am able to get the Spore off, and now thinking since Regirock doesn't do super well against Amoonguss one-on-one, I'm thinking that he's going to switch out to his Excadrill or his Kyurem B, and I do carry the Stun Spore, so that is what I'm going to go for next turn, so I can hopefully severely cripple one of them to paralyze them. But it turns out that he actually decides to stay in, so I think this is an opportunity for me to actually bring in my Drifblim so I can activate my Flame Orb. Now my Flame Orb is on my Drifblim because it is a Flare Boost variant, and what Flare Boost does is boost my special attack by 1.5 times in the case that I am burned. So it's a lot like Choice Specs, except I'm able to choose whatever move I want with the expense of just taking a little bit of residual damage each turn. So here I am going to be able to go for the Shadow Ball on this Regirock, and that Regirock is so bulky. I can see now why I decided to keep it in on my Amoonguss, because it probably has some decent special defense investment despite it being really bulky on the physically defensive side. So I get 2 Shadow Balls off before he goes for the Rock Slide, and Drifblim doesn't have the best of defenses, but it does have an amazing HP stat, and because of that I am going to be able to live the Rock Slide and the burn damage, so I can go for one more Shadow Ball to put Regirock in an easily revengeable range. And I actually do get a crit, which does not matter, and you'll see why. Now you may think that Drifblim did very little work this game, but it actually did exactly what I needed it to, because it leaves Regirock in a very revengeable range, and it's perfect because now I can Mega Evolve into my Mega Ampharos, set up an Agility while also having enough bulk to take at least one of anything that this Regirock has to offer. So I am going to go for the Agility, and barring that his Excadrill or his Kyurem are scarfed, I do outspeed the rest of his team. His Regirock is going to go for the Earthquake here, and although I'm offensive, I still live this Earthquake relatively nicely. So I am going to go for the Dragon Pulse now and be able to easily take out the Regirock from this range. Now I'm max special attack modest, so I really don't think the crit from the Shadow Ball from Drifblim onto the Regirock mattered. Now here he brings in his Kyurem B, which in my opinion is somewhat of a misplay, because he's not Scarf, so I outspeed, and so I'm able to easily go for the Dragon Pulse and just take him out. Now what I think he actually should have done is go into his Excadrill. Now it doesn't matter as you're going to see, but if he went into Excadrill first, he would have required me to go for the Focus Blast, and if I missed, he could have taken me out easily with an Earthquake and then easily have been able to take out my Amoonguss with a combination of his Excadrill and Kyurem B. Nonetheless, Mega Ampharos is well trained, quite loyal, hitting that last needed Focus Blast and able to take out Excadrill, winning me the game. Now that last play was somewhat debatable in my head whether to go for Dragon Pulse or Focus Blast, because if I missed Focus Blast, it definitely would have came down to the wire with my Amoonguss versus his Excadrill 1v1, and thankfully though that wasn't even a scenario because Mega Ampharos was able to hit that Focus Blast, win me the game. So that will conclude this battle, and I certainly hope you all enjoyed. If you liked this video, please feel free to check me out, as I certainly appreciate it. My link will be in the description, and I hope to see you guys over on my channel. I upload daily content with a schedule that includes showdown battles, Wi-Fi battles, videos that aid in team building, let's plays, and even more. So with all that said and done, I just have one more question for you guys. Mega Ampharos was able to pull through for me in the very end, and I wanted to know, what is your guys' favorite late game sweeper? So with all that said and done, thank you so much LumioseStation for this opportunity, and thank you all for watching. Like, comment, sub, and until later, peace.